Hello, everyone. Welcome to Nomads, No Worries. My name is Steve,
And I'm Jack.
and we got a great show for you today. We are joined by Jordi of Satlantis. He has some interesting stories, things to talk about. This guy started out as an airline pilot, but has now become sort of a tech entrepreneur and looking into the nomad and travel tech space. And he's got a new product that we're excited to chat with him about. Hi, Jordi. How's it going?
Hello, thank you for inviting me. It will be, I suppose, a great pleasure to be able to share with all your audience about this new product.
Yes.
Welcome.
Yes, welcome. And our audience is excited to hear your beautiful Spanish accent. It sounds a lot more exciting and interesting than our boring American accents. So this is gonna be fun. But yeah, let's get into the questions we have for you, man. We're really excited to kind of learn more about your story, and we definitely want to talk about Satlantis, your app, and get into that because it's a super exciting solution for nomads. But first, let's get to know you a little bit more, learn about your background. So let's start at the beginning of your career. You were a pilot for Austrian Airlines. So how do you get into that? What was that like?
Sure. So it's funny that you bring my Spanish accent. So I'm class of financial crisis, like in 2008, right? So it's like just at that moment, I graduated from school and I was like, okay, so what now? What am I supposed to do? I got a university degree that nobody cares about because it's a big financial crisis. So I started to find some places to work. And this university degree was in aviation. And luckily, I landed a job, pun intended, in Austria, in Austrian Airlines. And so I had to move there. And even though I didn't speak any English at the time, although, I mean, we Spaniards don't speak much English. So I happened to find a job in a country where they don't speak English. They speak even a more complicated language, which is German. So I arrived into a new country I was 22 years old. I had an idea of how the world worked, how to how to work in the real world. So it was like such a growing experience, like learning to be an airline pilot and to fly all over Europe, north of Africa, Russia, learning both English and German while I was taking care of my passengers. So I was so happy that I had this experience, and that lasted for around 7 years.
Wow.
That during that time, I also was curious about entrepreneurship. My free time, pilots, we have a lot of free time. Especially, I didn't want to work a lot because when you fly, you are closer to the sky, closer to the sun. There is like this cosmic radiation, and even though there are some regulations to avoid and to prevent like all type of health issues, flying so much is exhausting. Picture yourself on a plane as a passenger. It's exhausting. You did nothing. You just sit there, but it's exhausting. So imagine even you're working on it. So I decided to work as little as possible for a while. I had so much free time. I went back to university. I studied something more creative and business. So I I was curious about the entrepreneurship scene. So I ended up working in a business incubator, launching a couple of what I like to call successful failures because now I had to shut them down. But I learned a lot on how to start startups, and then I consulted for a I was consulting around 100 entrepreneurs and CEOs a year. So I had to quit aviation. I couldn't do everything at the same time. And now since 1 year ago, I joined a startup. This startup that is called Satlantis that helped me uh, go back to my origins, which was traveling everywhere. And now my current role is traveling again, not flying, not piloting the planes on my own, but just visiting places and getting to know as many new people and cultures as I can all over the world. So that's a little bit of a story and like, the arc of my professional story.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. always funny to hear people's different backgrounds. Like I feel like there's so many people that, what they're currently doing now, if they've been in their career for 10, 20 years, like their origins are sometimes very different. Like yours, you were a pilot, now you're doing this. So was there anything, I guess, that you learned from your aviation experience, any insights? And I know you got into ed tech, I think, as well.
Yes.
So like, were there any learnings from that part of your career that's been valuable in your current role?
So when I was a pilot, all the decisions I was making were most of them life or death decisions in a couple of seconds, which helped me to be faster in making decisions. Now, today, I know how to make quick decisions, but with the certainty that nobody's going to die. So it's like I indulge myself. It's like, okay, so you can do it like this. I can make fast decisions, but it's going to be fine either way. So I think that having started my career with such a high responsibility job, it's like I compare sometimes flying to a surgeon. It's like these people that we stay like maybe for 10 hours, putting all of our attention into one thing, and nothing can go wrong. So I like to compare it to compare them both. And once you've done it and you train yourself, this is like riding a bicycle. You train yourself, and of course you have to keep riding the bicycle to be proficient. But there is always something that is back in your at the back of your head, reminiscent of it. So this was something that I can surely recommend anyone. Like if you are starting your career or if you're changing careers, or just try to get the best of your current career, because it will certainly help you for the future. There is always something that we can learn.
It's a
Yeah.
great
Yeah.
attitude to have, honestly.
Yeah. And yeah, less pressure with your current role. It's good to know that people's lives aren't in your hands. I don't think I could handle that personally. So
I feel like it would
that's
be tough, like wait, so when you went to Austria, quick question, did you like learn how to fly on the job? Like was your university degree to fly a plane or do like engineering on a plane or
So my university degree that I studied in Spain was both um, physics and mathematics plus training. So I got my license. It was like a flying license plus a university degree in aviation. But I say that when I arrived to Austria, I learned to fly because it's like any job. When you are out of school, then you learn by doing. And of course, I had all my training and I had passed all my requirements and certifications. But once you are on the job, you start realizing that there are some standard operating procedures that are not exactly as you have studied. And of course, all the airline companies have or follow the same procedure. And that doesn't mean that the pilots are not trustworthy. There are always 2 to 3 to 4 pilots in every plane, depending on their experience. So at the beginning, I wasn't there alone, and I actually have never been alone. There are always, the minimum is always 2 pilots. So even for the new trainee, I was called a cadet when I started. Even for the cadet, when I was a cadet, we were 3 pilots on the plane, and a plane can be flown by just one person. So there are always redundancies. So that's what I mean by learning when I arrived there.
so do you know German and English now? I mean, obviously you know English, but did German stick with you?
Yes, and sometimes it goes away. I sometimes wake up and I remember I dreamed in German, and of course in my dreams I speak it better than in real life.
Right?
And then I don't know. I just came back from a 2 week retreat for Nomads in Tarifa, and
Well, cool.
for whichever reason it was full of Germans. So sometimes I have excuses, to keep practicing it, and it never goes away.
Now, did you do any kite surfing in Tarifa? I heard it's kind of a mecca
Definitely,
for it. I really want to go there for kite surfing. Like
definitely, it's the place. And
banging wind.
if you go for at least 2 weeks, because
Really?
if you are so unlucky, you can be unlucky that maybe one whole week is not windy enough. So don't go there to then do not do kite. If you go to Tarifa, you have to kite. So
Yeah, no, I mean it is the best place in the world, I think, to kite or one of those. It's for our viewers, it's like on it, correct me if I'm wrong, it's on the very southern tip of Spain.
correct. And
Yes.
they do like this contests once a year or twice a year, and there are some world records that have been broken there. I
Fancy
didn't see it.
legs.
Yeah, certainly. But yeah, I had so much fun. It's a sport that I like practicing.
So you kite surf was what I do. I learned in the Dominican Republic, actually.
Cool. I learned. Where did I learn? In Spain, in one of the Canary Islands, in Lanzarote, I think.
Oh, cool. I think Steve's been there, I believe.
Yeah, I went to Tenerife. It was awesome. It's one of the warmest, probably the warmest place in Europe in the winter time.
It's a good place. Yeah, yeah.
The only way
Speaking
you can get
for the
decent
winter.
weather in January. Yeah, exactly. If you don't want to go to like Africa or a different continent, you
Yes.
actually want to be in the EU. Like I think it's the warmest place. So that's why I was there. It was like last winter, January, February. So it was nice.
All right. So now next time, Tarifa.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, would love that.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm
We'll
gonna
do
do the
it
big
in
air
person
stuff,
next time.
but I'll I'll get out there.
Something, at least something.
Yeah.
But cool. Let's talk a little bit about Satlantis. This is what we're really excited to hear about. And we got lots of questions. We'll get into some details, but maybe if you just want to first give an overview of Satlantis and maybe kind of what inspired the creation of it. What was kind of the aha moment, that
Yes.
entrepreneurs have that inspires the creation.
All right. So first, I will start defining what Satlantis is, and I'm trying to make it as quick as possible, so we
Okay.
don't dig into like these long explanations that you can do this or that or that. No. So Satlantis is a social network for frequent travelers and digital nomads. This is how I would frame it, right? So social network, and but but to explain what a social network is, we have to go back to the origins of social networks, because now somebody listening might hear social network and might think YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and no, any of those are social networks. Not anymore. They started as social networks, but they became social media platforms, social media conglomerates. They are companies that are fighting with each other to get our attention, the users, not to connect with anybody, but to consume as much content as possible. And those social media platforms allow us to produce content. There are content creator tools, especially on YouTube, for example. But the antithesis of a social network would be TikTok. In TikTok, you don't even have to have friends. You download the app, and out of a sudden, magically, you're seeing content that is aligned to your interests. It's magic. It's like magic, like this quote that they say, you cannot differentiate technology, like good technology, from magic. They cracked the code. So those are social media platforms. They try to it's like TV. TV is like, the problem with TV is that it's mass media, and it cannot be personalized to every person that is listening or watching the TV, the screen. So now we have invented a TV that is unique for each one of us, which is amazing. But this is not a social network; it's a social media. It all came from or it was the origin of the social media platforms were the legacy social networks, like the origins of Facebook, that was invented to connect with your classmates and then maybe with your family members and so on and so forth. So Satlantis, it's like a back to the roots social network. We have built it. So we nomads, when we travel, I say nomads, I say frequent travelers. I also like to point it to freedom seekers, because
Ooh.
normally freedom, like travelers and nomads, are looking uh, for freedom, and that's why I'm not feeling comfortable in the country where I am. I know this other country that treats me better. It can treat me better, as we were talking before, because it's warmer in winter. There are many reasons. So that there is like these people that once they start realizing that they are looking for freedom, they look for other people that is like-minded. So in Atlantis, you will be able to connect with other people. That's let me see, like, this is the origin, or the explanation and the reason of why we are who we are.
Okay, so do you feel like the challenge it's trying to solve is like, maybe digital nomads, travelers, like maybe they don't have much of a community because they're traveling, they're going from place to place all the time. Maybe they don't have a home base. Do you feel like this gives them like a digital sort of home base or community? Is that kind of the idea?
Yeah, very well put, Steve. So this is the idea. We frequent travelers, when we go to a new place, we know a couple of tools that can help us. Let me give you a couple of numbers. I talked about the social media platforms. So we as travelers, when we arrive to a new place, maybe we need to find directions. So we use Google Maps, or we need to find places to go inside of Google Maps. You can filter by restaurants, hotels, etc. But then when you see the hotel, you don't like the pictures. So you are going to that hotel's Instagram page, for example. And then based on those pictures, maybe you are wanting to see like some videos, some reels on Instagram as well. But I'm giving you these examples of tools that you guys and I know. But I travel to other communities, to other countries where Google Maps is not used or Instagram is not used. A couple of years ago, I was living in Korea. They don't use any of this. It works. Instagram works there, and Google Maps works, but you see that the quality of the content inside, it's not as truth to the reality as it is. So the numbers of the streets are incorrect, or the stars reviews are not matching the reality, because it turns out that in Korea they don't use Google, they use Kakao, whatever it is, right? So it's like another platform, Kakao
Yeah.
Talk, Kakao Maps, Kakao whatever, Kakao that. So and this is just one example. So when nomads travel from one place to another, it's difficult for them to discover what are the right tools. And even if they know what are the right tools, for example, I discovered that Kakao was a thing, it's not easy to set up one of those accounts if you are not from that country, or if you do not fulfill a couple of requirements, like maybe having a local phone number or things like that. So, you're a traveler, you don't want to be taking care of all these things that don't interest you. Those are just technicalities that you have. What you want to go with, what you want to do is find the restaurant that you like, or find the accommodation you like, or see pictures of people. So what we've done is like we try to bring together all the tools that normally nomads are using. So a map, a tool for images or videos like Instagram, then events. When you go to a new place, sometimes you want to meet with people. What do? Meetup.com, Eventbrite, Luma. There are like these tools that are hosting events. But again, those you have to create a new account for every of these things. What we've done in Satlantis is that we created like the whole universe, that every account is related to everything. So if you go to a new place, and imagine I'm going now to, I don't know, to the US, and I need to find accommodation. I could do Google Maps, then I could go to their Instagram, and then from the maybe on the Instagram page they say, join our event in meetup.com. The problem is that I lose the track of the social graph, of the web of trust, because in Atlantis what we've done is, if some hotel manager owns a hotel, he can post, this is my hotel under my account, and then I host these events in this hotel under my account. So it's an excuse for anybody to grow, for example, their user base. And for me, if I go to this hotel, then I can see that maybe you guys have been there before. So I can see your reviews, not random reviews from Google Maps that
Yeah,
I don't even
yeah.
care who they are, or maybe they are bots.
Right.
I don't know where the reviews come by, because they are not a social network. They are a platform that is using third-party reviews, and I work with reviews in one of my previous companies, the one you said, Steve, about education. So we created like this reputation system that all these platforms have, like stars from third parties. Like when you join in an Uber, you get, oh, this driver is reviewed by 5 stars. Who said so? Not anybody that you believe, or sorry, not
It's
nobody that you trust.
randos.
It's
We call
random.
those randos. Yeah.
And so in I would like to use like I would like to be able to trust, so to have like points of view or reviews from people that are closer to me or that share the same interests. So, for example, in Satlantis, when you create your account, we ask you about your interest. Do you like? Imagine we're talking about restaurants now. So, do you like pescatarian food? Do you like paleo food, or do you like carnivore or omnivore? So, based on that, we are profiling everybody. And then when I go to when I have to pick one restaurant, then if I'm paleo and you're paleo, then I will see your reviews first. Of course, that will only make sense when everybody is on the platform, and we are so early. We are still in beta. So what we're doing now is we're downloading all the reviews from Google Maps, TripAdvisor, Michelin Guide. There are like different places in different countries. They use different platforms. So we are downloading them all. We are connecting to all these APIs. We're paying them as much as they ask, so we can pull all this data. And for example, if a restaurant has, based on all these sources of data, 1,000 or 2,000 reviews, what we do is with AI, we do a summary. And even if you don't have time to read that summary, we do a summary of the summary saying food quality, service, vibe of the place. So then based on that, it's like a way to kickstart the decision of somebody that has never been in that restaurant to make a decision to go there. And that is something that we are building, and we're still on beta, and this is not yet there, but maybe by the time that this episode is released, it will be, is that if you have discovered that restaurant, I will see that you have discovered. Maybe Jack discovered that restaurant. Then I will see, and I can click on Jack's profile. And then if I like this restaurant, I say, okay, maybe Jack is a person that we share interests with. I will follow him. And then it's like Instagram, you can post things, and you can post events, you can post other restaurants. And in the future, you will be able to post your collection. So if there are 5 restaurants in your town that you like, you can post them there. And then because I'm following you and I like this restaurant, now when I go to your city, maybe I go visit these 5 restaurants that are discovered by you. So this is a way for you, a random user in the platform. You are not the restaurant owner or the hotel owner. You're just a person discovering places. Because of that, you can grow your audience and be more, get more exposure. And maybe in the end, and those are like business opportunities that can happen. In the end, you might end up becoming a digital tour guide, posting different collections, or even affiliate links because you have good connection with all these restaurants, and you can sell just tables on. So those are like all the things that you cannot do that on Google Maps or on Instagram. So we're trying to bring all the experience for a traveler, but I want to have like a local experience, and I want the locals. When I say local, it can be somebody that lives there, or it can be an expat as well, somebody that is not from there but settled there. So we're trying to bring these communities together, the foreigners with the locals, so then we all live in harmony. And those are just a couple of features that we can do now on Satlantis, and that we'll be able to do in a couple of weeks.
I love it. And I feel like that's a goal of every nomad is, that's what makes us a little bit different than a typical tourist, is because we want that local experience when we go to places, right? Like we're staying for months at a time, potentially, right? We don't just want to go see the touristy sites and be done. We do want to live like locals. So I like that that's one of the goals. But
And it's good
one thing I do, yes, go ahead.
it's good that you bring the keyword tourist. I come from Barcelona. In Barcelona, if you go to the streets, there are a lot of graffitis of locals say tourists go home.
Yeah, I've seen
We
those.
have you seen that? It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
we do not understand. We locals do not understand the value or the energy that a person from abroad can bring, because we never connect with them, and we feel like they come here. And I'm giving you this example of Barcelona, but I'm certain this happens in many other cities. They feel like they are part of an amusement park, and they are the monkeys, or they're like the Mickey Mouses, and
Yeah,
then people is
sure.
coming and throwing peanuts to them. So
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
trying to build something to make it all together so everybody can be happy. But if there is no connection, if we don't talk to each other and we don't understand what are the needs of each other, then we cannot achieve the agreements or being happy with each other. So yeah, I'm happy that you brought the word tourist.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's fair. I mean, I get it. There's a housing crisis in Spain, in a lot of cities in Europe and around the world, and people need someone to blame. So sometimes tourists
Yes.
get the blame, sometimes sometimes nomads. It's funny, like in Spain, they don't specifically call out the nomads, but in other cities like Cape Town, Mexico City, they specifically call out the nomads. So it's just whoever they feel like they want to blame. Maybe it is our fault, maybe it's other factors, but yeah, hopefully we
Well,
can
this
all
is part of.
one day live in harmony.
I think this is part of a bigger plan set up by the people that govern us. Normally, it's politicians, but of course, politicians they don't govern us. They are just puppets that serving the systems that we cannot see. So I think
Hmm.
they do a good job of getting us each other upset with each other. So then we are busy fighting with each other instead of trying to fix the problem. As I said, I come from Tarifa. Tarifa housing housing market is even worse than the one in Barcelona because Tarifa is surrounded by a national park, so you cannot build more to the right or to the left. If you go down, there is the sea, so you're limited, and it can all be easily solved by building taller buildings. But like we don't want to look into that. It's like we prefer to be fighting with each other and giving. And actually, and I'm not from Tarifa, and I hope that somebody from there listens to me and challenges me. But the problem of the housing bubble has been created by people in Tarifa. So they, because it's they who are deciding who they sell their houses to. So they decide to sell it to the foreigners because the foreigners are the ones with bigger pockets than the locals. And then the locals, when they grow up, it's like, oh, I don't have a house. Well, because your aunt or because your uncle sold it to this rich German guy.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
but Germans, no, they bought it from your family. So I wish that somebody started thinking about that more. It's a market, it's a free market, and we are nomads. We are libertarians, most of us, like looking for which country they treat us better, can we find like the better clients and have the better prosperity for ourselves and for the families if we're traveling with the families.
Yeah. No, I like that. I think that's a good take.
This
I've
is
thought about
this
that
is my
before
point of
too.
view.
Yeah, no, I've had the same thought. Like, well, it's the locals who might be, they're being a little bit greedy with the properties that they, selling those to these foreign investors and driving up
And
the
there's nothing
prices.
wrong. Nothing wrong with
Yeah.
that. It's a market.
So,
If you believe
yeah.
that your house is it's more expensive than what the other person is offering you, if I offer you 10 and Jack offers you 20, you're free to choose Jack because you feel like
You can
your
still
house is.
come over, Steve. Yeah,
Hey,
when I
thanks,
buy it.
man. Yeah. But yeah.
So yeah, this is like
But
a
no,
little bit of the type of people that we have on Satlantis. It's like we don't care about politics, we don't care about socialism and all these things. No, we care about where can we find people that have like a mindset that aligns with us. And of course, it's a big social network, and there will be a lot of different types of people, and that's why we ask a lot of questions when you sign in. But normally, nomads have this type of mindset. It's like they work either remote, they are remote workers or solopreneurs or entrepreneurs with a small company, so they have the freedom to be traveling everywhere in the world. And they just like to spend their money wherever they go, doing things that they like. So if they like a good apartment, if they like to go to a spa or, or go to a massage place or go to the swimming pool or go to this fancy gala dinner, it's like we are trying to we didn't copy or download all the restaurants and places that you can find on Google Maps. So you're not going to find McDonald's, all right, on our platform. So we're trying to curate it in a way that this type of people that are traveling that are they care about. We have a group of people that care a lot about health. So we are filtering all our restaurants by a lot of not only type of food that the restaurant offers, but how is this food cooked. So for example, we have a filter that says seed oil free. There is like this trend of people that say, no, I'm not gonna eat chips that are fried on on seed oil. So it's okay. So you can filter that. So this is like
Yeah.
the type of nomad. It's like a nomad that cares a lot about not. He started becoming a nomad by caring about his location independence. So it's freedom of country or of space. But they grow deeper, and they go like, all right. So what else is making my life better? Okay, health, or maybe sports. So we are trying to curate it to give like the best experience possible. There are some people that only like to go to Michelin restaurants. All right, so we have a filter for Michelin restaurants. And I'm not talking that this is like a super exclusive club. So because I'm using it and I can live with a low budget. But I'm saying that there is people, especially the young generations, that I don't know how they do it. I'm talking Gen Zs.
Yeah.
These guys, they're making like 100, 200, 300K a year, and they know how to make a lot of money, but they also like to enjoy spending that money in these exclusive deals and experiences.
Yeah. So Jack and I we created accounts on Satlantis. We've gotten in there, so I've seen all the filters, but I do want to bring
Okay.
this up. Yeah, yeah, we've been in there. We've read all your articles. We feel like we know a good amount. But one thing that first struck me when I got into Satlantis, and I know this is okay to bring up because I saw this comparison in some of your articles and on LinkedIn. But when I saw it, I was like, this just looks like a better version of Nomad List. And
Yes.
Jack and I love Nomad List. That was really the first, talking about like a community or social media, something that was really tailored to nomads. And it's been around since we first started nomading like 5 years ago. But obviously it has its issues and its shortfalls. I mean, it's just run by one dude, Peter Levels, who's great. We look up to him. He's done some awesome things. But he doesn't have a team that's optimizing the site. It's just kind of been the same way, since he started it. So there's things that can make it better. And I feel like when I saw your app, I felt like you kind of saw some of those shortfalls and maybe tried to fill those in and make them better. Is that fair to say?
Well, he's awesome, right? So
Yeah,
he
yeah,
created all this, he pulled this off on his own while running 6 or 7 other projects at the same time.
yeah,
So, yes, Nomad List has been a big inspiration for us. And we decided to take it over by creating like an updated version, an increased ecosystem of tools that Nomad List doesn't offer, because we realized that he has moved on, because he's sharing all his growth, all his number on his socials, and he has been now working on other projects. So we decided to, all right, as I said before, that we were inspired by Google Maps, by Instagram, by Meetup.com. We've been hugely inspired by Nomad List, especially on the database of cities. So for those that might not know about Nomad List to me is like, I describe it as a cities directory. It has all the information that you need to know when you're traveling to this city. What is the population, the best train, is the train the best system of transport, or Uber, or whatever? Can I drink the water from the tap? What are the electric outlet type? So do I have to bring a converter? Things like that. The problem is that he grew so much that he has hundreds of cities, and those things are changing, but he cannot be taking care of all of that. So what we have done is we took the same idea. We have created our own stats and facts. We call it the stats and facts page in every city in Satlantis. We've taken more or less the same, and this data we are keeping it updated because we buy it from other sources that are keeping this data updated. And one thing that we have done on top of it is we are partnering with local people in all these cities. We are now roughly 80 cities, and maybe by the time that this is aired, we will be in around 100 or 200 cities. So we're trying to to grow as much as possible. The problem is that it's not that you upload this page once; it's that you have to be actively updating it every 24 hours. So the way that we are updating it is we are partnering. Not only we're buying these databases that give us information as recent as possible, but we partner with local people in every of the cities. So we call them ambassadors, and we ask them to fill in all these surveys. And there are cities that have 1, 2, even 3 ambassadors. And in the future, we will also ask random people that is like you and I that are visiting a new city to fill in those surveys. Why? Because we ask things like not only the static things like what is the best airline to fly with or what is the best ride hailing app, because those things you might not need to change it for 1 or 2 or 3 years. But we ask things like, how is this city from the business standpoint? Is this city a business friendly city? Let me give you an example. Dubai has the highest ranking in business friendly city from our database. But what about safety? Well, it's not the same safety if you're a man than if you're a woman, for example, in some destinations. So what we are doing, and this is not yet there, it will be, is we're asking everybody to be able to fill in. Is this city safe? Yes. No. Can I walk at nights past midnight? Yes. No. And then based on who you are, you will see different recommendations than me. So if I'm a man that I like going out at night, and you too, then to me they will be safe. But if I'm a woman that I'm afraid of darkness, and then other women said no, then they will say no, this is not a safety city for you. And the same happens with the pricing of things. We also have a section that is called scores, and it tells you how much a life will cost for you if you are a single nomad or if you're traveling with your family. So there are apartments that might cost you half of it depends on your standards. So that's how we're trying to build this. It's a social network. We are crowdsourcing all this. And why is people gonna participate? Well, they are participating because they wanna get the best experience from themselves. So they know that if they share information about their city, others will do it from their cities. So when they travel, they know that they will have crowdsourced information from the locals or from the people that live in there.
Okay. That's interesting because yeah, that was one of my questions was kind of about how you source data because yeah, sometimes on Nomad lists the data can be
Yeah.
maybe
Weird.
just not up to date or weird or whatever. So yeah,
And I know
that's
that
cool.
in our platform, you will also see weird data as well. We are beginning, as I said before, we are in beta, but we are saying it as loud as possible so everybody knows to take all the information that they see with a grain of salt.
Yeah, I mean that totally makes sense. I feel like it's the nature of the beast, a lot of subjective data out there.
Yeah, and if you don't like something, you can change it. So that's the difference I see with Nomad List. Nomad List became, as I said, uh, a directory, and we want this directory to be alive. And the only way to make it alive is if you convert it into a social network. Is that if everybody has nearly the same rights to say or to change or to adapt things rather than just one person. Because when you are one person doing all this, you are limited by your human capabilities. But if we are crowdsourcing this, and once we reach out these network effects, everybody will be seeing the right information they are looking for.
Yeah, and I know that the app is still in beta, obviously. I mean, it's limited right now. You guys are still building things out, and it sounds like you have a lot more features in store. Again, I read like your article, and I know you guys have a lot planned. But let's talk about some of those. Maybe there's some features we haven't touched on yet. Like what else is in store for the app?
So I talked about the collections. So it's like with the example of Jack knowing the best 5 restaurants in his town and he sharing it on his profile. That is not yet there. It's not available yet, but it will be probably one of our next updates in a couple of weeks. So at the beginning, it looks like just a Google list. The difference is that if Jack becomes very popular, he can start selling this collection, and you can sell it for a couple of bucks. You can sell 100 a month, and then you're making a couple of $100 a month. Why would I buy it for
Right. Maybe a couple of
maybe
sats.
a couple of sats? So yes, okay, I like where is this conversation going? So let me explain for the audience that don't understand what this means. Uh, we, Satlantis, are using a technology that we didn't invent that is called Nostr. Nobody needs to know what it is. It's just a protocol like email. Email is a protocol. Nobody understands how it works, but we can send emails from one company, from one email tool app to another. I can send you an email from Gmail to Outlook, and then you can send the same email to Proton. It doesn't matter. We don't have to be on the same company because we all use this underlying protocol that works. So what we are building is we are building Satlantis on top of a protocol that allows our users to jump from one company, from one platform to another that supports the same protocol. That means that we don't own your data because we don't have a username or a password. You can do it if you want. If you don't know about technology, you can just sign in with Google Sign In or Apple Single Sign On or email or with Nostr. It doesn't matter. Nobody needs to understand this. Only the techies will care. What matters to me is that because we're using this protocol, we don't we will never own anything that you do. Whereas in Instagram or other social media, they are the owners of your information. Actually, it's not yours because when you say create account next, you're saying everything you post is theirs, and they only give you access to edit it until they change their mind. So why am I saying that? Is that um, this protocol is fostering competition. So if I don't do my work properly as a good social network offering what you really need, then I know that my users, you guys, will jump into another app, bringing all your history of followers, of likes, of content, of post, of video. And this is like a mentality that that protocol was invented 4 years ago only. It's very nascent, but it came from something that is older, that is the Bitcoin protocol. And Bitcoin, for those that don't understand much, I will say shortly, Bitcoin is money, full stop, right? So the money that we use today, that we have in our pocket or in our bank accounts, that's not money. We use the same word, but it changed. It changed when it was depegged from the gold standard in the 1961 and all these stories. We don't we changed the definition, but we didn't change the word. So people think that we use money. No, we don't use money. Nowadays, when we pay for groceries or everything, we don't use money. We use credit, and then one credit, which are magical numbers that are printed by the central. I don't want to get too deep into that, but the idea is that it's a decentralized way of nobody is manipulating or nobody is owning the number of coins that everybody has. And that was the origin of Bitcoin 16 years ago and has been running since then. And Nostr has an integration with Bitcoin. That imagine that Twitter, let's say Twitter, when you post something, when you post a picture, oh, I like this park. I was visiting the city and I like this park, and I take a picture, nice picture with the trees and the dogs playing. On Twitter, you can like, you can repost, and you can comment, and maybe you can save. So on Nostr, what Nostr allows you to do all these things, plus send money to that specific post. When I mean money, is money, one coin from me to you. There is no intermediary, there is no PayPal, bank, credit card payment processor, company. There's nothing like that. It's peer to peer. Today we think that we can send it to each other money, I don't know, using Cash App, Venmo, or any of those tools. That's a lie. They're just apps with user interfaces that I send two to Steven, and Steven receives two. It's a lie. It's not real money. It's just numbers that at the end of the day or at the end of the month they balance. And if I owe you in the end of the month two, then I will send you two. But this is not. When I send you two, you haven't received those 2.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, Nostr, thanks to this integration with Bitcoin, allows to send, if I want to send you two sats, the sat is going back to, and I make all this long explanation, because you mentioned the word sat. The sat is the smallest unit of a Bitcoin. Like $1 can be divided by 100 cents, and we have the word dollar and the word cent. In Bitcoin, you have Bitcoin, which is the unit, and SAT, which is, instead of being 100 sats equals to $1, in Bitcoin we have 100 million sats. Doesn't matter, but it's the smallest unit of account that you can have. So I am posting in Nostr through Satlantis GNs, like good nights and good mornings. I just pictures of the moon and sunrises, and people is sending me sats just for stupid pictures of me doing things. So this is another business opportunity. If you are an entrepreneur, that, I don't know, imagine you are a musician or a podcast editor, and you want to know if your audience likes your podcast. Well, if you rely on likes or retweets on social networks, you don't know if those likes are real or if it's just your friends out of pity just giving you, it's like, oh yeah, poor guys, poor artists.
Yeah.
I will give some, because it's free, and because it is free, it costs them nothing. But if I really value your content, if you are, imagine you are creating your next song, and you are not sure how the first sentence should be, well, you could share it with your audience, even if your audience is 10 people. It's your first 10 fans. And if they send you a like, it's fine. But if somebody sends you sats, it's like, wow, these people, my audience really valued that. So it's a way for you to build your company, your product, your service with your audience directly. You don't have to wait. Imagine, let me give you something more complicated. I gave the example of a podcast. A podcast, maybe you guys, after 1 month, you can have something legit. Or a song, maybe it takes 1 week to produce. But imagine you're producing a movie. You don't want to spend 1 whole year with all the resources and then showcasing the movie and nobody wants it. So maybe you can start showing your storyboards, or maybe you can start sharing your characters. And based on that, you can build based on real market dynamics. It's not just likes, it's money. And the same way that people send me money, real money, when I post things, I send money to other people. When I see my friends, or when I see people that is posting some type of content that really adds me value, maybe there's people that is sharing the first chapter of their books. All right, if I like it, so I can read it for free, and it's a completely new paradigm. Uh, the content creator has to first release something for free and cross their fingers and hope that somebody will pay for it. So it's a different type of marketing strategy if you're a content creator. And why am I telling you all this? So thank you, Jack, for bringing that up. It's because most of the nomads, they are normally content creators, they are bloggers, they are editors, they are freelancers, and they have to share. And now what they're doing is they're using the legacy social media platforms that, unfortunately, they own what you post. And I know many nomads that have had their accounts sometimes blocked for a couple of weeks, sometimes even completely ceased. So imagine you put all your effort. You're a YouTuber. You're having all your, and I know I'm going to the extremes because we know that most of the YouTubers are not having this issue. But if you have a YouTube account and they cancel it, then all your work is gone. And that's why many YouTubers, for example, they have different accounts. And I know that there are different reasons. There is one maybe because they have different target audiences, or they publish like, this is my vlog and this is my food travel thing and this is my guide or whatever. But one of the reasons is because they are scared. They're scared of losing all their job. So Nostr gives you the ownership that email brought to the table 3 decades, 4 decades ago. Because an email, nobody can block your email. It's yours. So nobody can say, no, we cannot, because you can create your own server, you can run your own domain, and you can have your own email hosted in your server. I'm not talking about Gmail. Of course, Gmail can close your account. But when you run it on your own, you can do it. You cannot run your own instance of Instagram. No, that's not how it works. It's a private company. You need to plug into them if you want to post something into their network. So this is one of the benefits of using, and that's why we are, one of our target groups is, as I said before, the freedom seeker. It's this group of people that want to be in charge of their of what they say online, their presence, their online presence.
Right. Jack, you're kind of our Bitcoin nerd. Do you have anything else related to that stuff?
You know, I love decentralized finance. I love crypto. I think crypto and nomads go together. You know, I think nomads as a group of people are, you know, some of the first, you know, true globalization of people around the world, meaning, you know, these are the people that are going everywhere, right? And I think one of the things that is still not fully globalized is payments because, you know, you got to hoop, you know, there's different currencies, you know, there's different systems that support these currencies. You got to, you know, trade some dollars for some Canadian dollars to pay for stuff. And I think that crypto solves a lot of those problems. So I think actually crypto and nomads go together like peanut butter and jelly. It's a Kansas phrase.
Thank you for the reference.
No problem.
So and I know that we're bringing a lot of new topics to the table in Nostr. So, and for extension in Satlantis, you will only see Bitcoin, nothing else. And that would be like another hour at least of explanation, but I'm trying to stay to the script here as much as possible because I go to conferences, you know. Now next week I'm gonna be next week no this week I'm in a cypherpunks conference, and in 2 weeks I will be in Prague, also a very cyber cypher city.
Yeah.
They have BTC Prague as well. So I'm hours and hours talking with these topics, and our main focus at the moment is Bitcoin only, 100%, because it's the only tool that we have found that can be 100% decentralized. When you move from one country to another, it's nothing. Nobody can stop you.
I love going to countries that are very pro and forward crypto. When you were mentioning those, one that comes to mind for me is Georgia,
Uh-huh.
where a lot of refugees from Russia and the surrounding countries will go there to cash their crypto out, you know, and get around some of the embargoes. And so I think a great example you brought up about how crypto can actually help people in some of these countries.
I saw it in South Korea. When I was living
Oh,
there, I participated in one meetup organized by the Human Rights Foundation, and I don't know how much I can tell of that because it's a very taboo topic, especially for Koreans. But you know, in North Korea, you're not allowed to leave. If you leave, they kill you. And Bitcoin was helping to get these people out, because when they get out, they go with, I don't know, with the clothes they are wearing, and they run in the woods, or they swim in the river, and maybe they got into a boat, and then from the boat. So it's like when you have to run because everybody is looking after you, you cannot go with you, even with gold coins. No, because if they find you, they can take it from you. So we're looking for, like, I believe that Bitcoin can be a solution for these countries where there are some regimes that are oppressing the people. And I know that we are not in that situation, and most everybody from the audience won't be there and will think this is not for me. But I want to raise awareness to say this is not for you today. We don't know where we're going. I feel like the Western civilization is going into decadence, and it won't happen overnight. But you know, these civilizations that, or these nations that are now under these regimes, they might not have been under these regimes before. So this is just a tool to say, if you're looking for freedom, it exists. Just understand that it's there. Maybe you don't need to study it today, or maybe you just have to read a little bit just in case for your next generation you might need it. So this is why we are plugging into this community as well. Like when you start with in this rabbit hole of freedom seeking, you end up in things that the regular person wouldn't care. And I like that you brought the word as well, globalization, because I think that we nomads are the living examples of what globalization is, and we'll figure out some problems that people that don't travel won't suffer, but maybe they need to travel. If they haven't studied or learned about that, they might be into trouble. They can be in trouble if they don't know. So I think we don't all need to know how every system that we're using work. We don't all need to understand how email works, how a supermarket has always food in the shelf. We don't need to understand the deepness of all this, but it's good that we understand at least the surface on how money works, how freedom works, just in case.
So I want to get into another question about the features. So, apps like this tend to work better when there's a large community of active users. You kind of brought it up earlier, certain features, they're not going to do much right now until you get a bunch of users on the platform adding data, communicating with each other and everything. So we even had some friends try to create an app a few years back that kind of failed because it relied on having a lot of users and they didn't have a lot of users. So what strategies are in place for Satlantis to really get that global community of users?
All right, good question. And the first one, because we realized since the very beginning that we were new entrants here, that's why we decided to use Nostr, this underlying protocol, because many people is already using Nostr before Satlantis came to the existence. Many people were using it as a social network. So in this network, there are, and depending who you ask and what benchmarks do you use, you might find between 3 to 500,000 users already there. So this is our most strategic play here. We build an app that is using all the content that you will see in Nostr through a more beautiful lens or appealing lens for the frequent traveler. So that means that even the first days Atlantis existed with 0 users, we already had 500,000 users. And we only need to reach out to these people that now maybe they are using other apps inside of Nostr. In Nostr, there are all types of apps, social networks, podcasting tools, productivity tools. There are so many. So what we only have to do is go where these people is and say, hey, if you're traveling, if you're going to a next destination, why don't you use Atlantis? You don't have to create a new account. You can bring your identity that you created maybe 2 years ago and view your destination. And if you like it, you might stay here. And this is also a good thing for the new entrant. When they enter, they will know that they are not alone. The problem, the type of people that is on Nostr, as I said before, Nostr is like, it came from the mentality of Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is like this freedom seeker people, or freedom technology seeker. So it's like a little bit of an echo chamber if we are only staying in this initial database. So the other way of getting people interested is going to local events. So that's why I come back now from Tarifa, or as you can see here, I was at the Nomad World that's in Albufeira. So both Alex, the CEO, and me, we are all traveling all over the world, going to nomadic locations, sometimes just to the cities, and sometimes to conferences, festivals, with the goal of engaging with locals, with nomads, learning from them, gathering all the info, gathering all the feedback, and then going back to shop and with the developers to create all these features for these people. So one main goal is to tap into an existing network, and the other one is to go to these other networks. And that's why this Friday and Saturday I'm speaking in this Cypher conference in Barcelona, and next week I'm going to BTC Prague, and at the end of June I'm going to Bansko Nomad Fest. I don't know if anybody's from your audience is traveling. In Bansko, once a year there is like this big retreat. It is supposed to be the biggest one. They claim to have around 900 nomads in this small remote town. It's a ski resort, but it's in summer, so it's like it's empty in summer. So all nomads from all over the globe just meet there. Some go there for a month. I'm going to be there for 1 week because there is like this big conference, and the goal to tap into these communities is to go there and just be friendly with the people and ask, hey, what issues did you have to get here? Oh, I didn't know here I used to have, I should have used Google Maps or Uber or whatever. And then I listen to their problems. And if I can feel that we have a solution with Satlantis, then I say, well, I work for Satlantis and we're trying to make the nomads life a little bit easy. And, like to quote a little bit yourself, it's like nomads, no worries, we're here, right? So it's like we want to,
That's good.
that's our a little bit our point or a unique selling proposition to them.
Thanks for plugging us. We love that. Thank you.
Yeah, plugging us on our own show. That's great. No, this is great. You've done a great job answering a lot of our questions. This is super helpful, I think.
I'm glad.
I had one last question, Jack. Before I ask that, did you have anything else? Any other questions?
I'd love to hear your last question, Steve.
Mine is, it's kind of like when you're interviewing for a job and they say, where do you see yourself in 10 years? Maybe not you specifically, Jordi, but more Satlantis, right? Like, what is the future of, how Satlantis will influence remote work and digital nomadism and this community, everything that you're trying to build? Like, what is that future state going to look like in 10 years?
It's like a vision that, to me, I'm certain that we will be able to create it as long as we're capable to stay afloat. Because as any product, we need to demonstrate that these hypotheses that we have in our brain are real needs from the community of nomads in this case. So one thing that I would like to build with Satlantis and the whole team, we are looking forward in the short terms, because for me, 10 years is short term. Like we in our company, we believe that we have like this low time preference, looking that everything that we build needs to be built for 1 or 2 more generations. So 10 years, it's something that we, in our lifetime, we can build and we can be certain that it will be there, which is we want to facilitate commerce. Because now all these platforms, like these social media platforms, what they do is they capitalize on their users to sell you stuff. So instead of, and there are normally 3 participants, the platform, that is super hard to maintain, to build a platform like Instagram or TikTok. This is an architecture marvel. Then we have the users that are the people that consume the content. And then we have the advertisers, and because of those advertisers, the whole thing, those users can enjoy the content for free. So in Satlantis, what we're trying to do is that even though we will have advertisers, it not will be like the typical newspaper that you get for free because the advertisers are paying, or the social media. So what we're trying to do is facilitate one-on-one commerce. And that's why I keep repeating that we are a social network. And how are we going to do that? Well, we have all these merchants. Now it's just a copy of Google Maps and the places that you uploaded. But look at Google Maps today. You can book a hotel. There are integrations with Booking or Expedia. You can even buy flights on Google Maps because they have created their flight search engine. So what we want to do is we want to use Satlantis as a tool for all type of creators, with the advantage that compared to these other platforms, you will own everything that you publish. So if you don't like how are we showcasing your business, you can go with all this information to any of the other Nostr compatible apps and go there. So I think that this fosters us to be a better app developer than others, that once they reach critical mass, they can lay down and say, okay, we are so big now that nobody's going to go. And I'm not saying that YouTube, Instagram, all those things are bad. No, I'm saying that this is the business model that worked for them, but this is not the same that we want to build for the creators that we are building. So imagine you find a restaurant, you can book a table directly from Satlantis, or your waiter serves your food very well, that you're so happy that you want to send him a tip. You send him some sats through the app, right? So the idea is peer-to-peer communication, and the communication can be just text, I can say I like the restaurant or events. If I go to this event, I want to be able to buy the ticket of the event and maybe give a review. And that review, if my review is good, if I post a picture, I want anybody else that next year will go to the same event to tip me. Thank you, Jordi, for giving this good review because it helped me decide to go there. And because it was a review on an event, I can share maybe 50% of what I make with the event organizer. And maybe next year he gives me a 50% discount. All this is possible, and we are building towards this. And this can be like a super app that for all these people, frequent travelers that are going anywhere, geo-arbitragers, flag theories, passport bros, tax advisors, all these people that have all these business opportunities going from one country to another, to have the opportunity to own what they say, what they make. So what they say is what they talk, what the videos, what they make. I mean, what the money that they make, and it will be theirs and only theirs. Even if somebody asks us to cut down the bank account or whatever, we will not be able to do it because we don't have bank accounts, and everything will be like running on Bitcoin, which means that there is no law that can prevent it for working. So this is the short future. 10 years. This is what we are our goal.
The short future, and then 100 years later, it's going to be even better, I'm sure.
Wow.
But yeah,
So,
I like where we're starting out. Good.
Yeah, I like it too. I hope that what I say resonates with anybody. And luckily, we are so small now, and I'm so available that I'm traveling to all of these places. So if anybody has some feedback, reach out to me. And at the moment, I'm available. When we are so big, maybe I'll stop listening. But now we are building a tool for digital nomads built by nomads.
Love it. And yeah, just so people can check out Satlantis or get in touch with you, Jordi, like where can they go online or social media to get involved?
Cool. Yes. So first of all, I don't know if you see somewhere down here, it's our website is satlantis.io, and you can either experience your Satlantis experience on the website, or you can download your apps on Android and Apple. So just look for Satlantis. And if somebody wants to reach out to me, you can reach out to me. Probably I will be in the next Nomad conference in person. And if not, you can reach out to me on Twitter or, of course, on Satlantis. So I'm satlantis.io/Jordi. Or you can find me on Twitter on Jordi_Llonch, which is my surname, which is a little bit complicated, but you can read it here on screen. And also, there is something that I would like to share, and I don't know when this will be published, but there is another way that you can reach out to us. In a couple of weeks, we will launch a crowdfunding campaign, because I've been asking a lot of things here on this podcast, like, yes, reach out to me, send me feedback. So it's like every time I'm asking for, yeah, give me. So we thought that after being 1 year traveling and asking so much feedback to everybody, we thought that we would like to share a piece of our company with our most hardcore users, or the users that understand what they are doing. Big disclaimer, investing in startups, super risky. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, shut down, mute me, and don't listen anymore. But if you know what investing in startups means, we are opening our communication with our most active users to be part of us, and we will start for retail, for the unaccredited investors. So you can start with 500 or $1,000, which means that you own 0.001% of the company. But this will give you like a closer. You will be closer to the executive team. So if you have things to say, maybe we will be easier. It will be easier for us to listen to you. This is something that, and I don't know when this will be released. So maybe if you are listening to this and the crowdfunding is already closed, sorry, or reach out to me on these other social networks that I said.
Awesome. That's super interesting. That's unique. Who knows? Maybe I'll be one of the power users slash
yeah.
investors.
Sad Steve.
Make the most of it. My goal here is that you guys can monetize, for example. you can reach out your best audience, and I don't know, like if you have ideas, I'm here.
Love it. Well, yeah, we appreciate it. And yeah, everyone who heard this, get involved, get on Satlantis, and obviously Jordi is available for now if you have questions until the app blows up and he gets too big and he's too wealthy to talk to you. But for now he's available. So
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you
uh,
very
well, thank you, Jordi. We appreciate you coming on, and yeah, we'll have to do this again. Maybe later this year or something when you guys have more features in place, and we can talk even further about what's going on and get the updates from you.
Definitely, it would be a pleasure. So thank you guys. It's been a pleasure being here at Nomads No Worries. And thank you for the invitation. And I hope that I can see you guys soon.
Awesome. Thanks, Jordi.
Thank you so much, Jordi.
See ya.